I think in those scenarios, again, it comes back to context. And for me personally, how I'd approach that if I was going to build a chatbot is the chatbot would capture some small information and then it would tell me that it's being handed off to a person. And then you do that. That's how I'd approach that, because there's so many problems and going down. We just sort of spoke about it, you know, credit card information and all this personal information being put into the chat. I personally would prefer to have something that gives you a good experience at the start and then says, I'm going to hand you off to Daphne, who's going to help you with this. And then it dials through, you know, that sort of thing.
It's coming through, Daphne.
Yeah, and even using the chatbot more as a qualifier, I think, is probably a bit smarter. So you're making sure that you can personalize their experience still. If they're making a big purchase, you can be like, here's some preliminary questions. I think these might be some great options for you, but here, I'm going to hand you off to someone else, or here's some more information and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, it will get there. Like, one of the things, like the reason why we built the tax return bot was kind of to prove that it can be done, right? It was really just a proof point that for us that we were getting in the right thing, and plus, you know, a tax return is this big, intimidating form. It's a process, and most people think they need to go to an accountant and things like that. But when you put the time and effort into the conversational tone and that experience, like when we did user testing, people got to the end and said, "Can I do it again?" Like, who wants to? They're not going to get more money. Like, who wants to do their tax return again? But when you put the tone in, like our goal was to basically make, hope there's no accountants in the room, an accountant with personality, right? So the idea being that this is, I know it's a big ask, but that was kind of the goal, was to make it so, you know, and it's dropping GIFs while we're doing API calls to the ATO, because sometimes it's slow and down and whatever else. But, you know, make it fun and engaging. And, you know, we even had tried to, like, some of the feedback was around the point was like, oh, you've only got a cat and a puppy. It's like, so we had to find diversity in our GIFs. So it was like, I've got a cat, a duck, a chick, rabbits, all this other stuff in there. So it all comes down to, like, do the research, understand what the problem is, because you can take something that is as serious as a tax return and as, I guess, as sensitive from the data point of view. And sure enough, like from a money side of things, there's not a lot of value attached to it. Like, they might get a couple of $1,000s from a tax return point of view, but you can go down that path. I think something like a home loan and whatnot, it's going to be a longer journey to build those experiences, because that's a pretty serious sort of thing. So I think it'll be on the lines of, like, do a lot of the qualification and then hand off to a human to finalise it. But it's only a matter of time, because not all of those experiences are great with them when the humans come into it.